It's time for an episode of What My Narcissistic Parents Did to Me, part 1. So I will give you a little bit of background. So I have a alcoholic brother, to put it simply, who had finally found himself a girlfriend at the ripe old age of, I think it was 27 at that point, just turning 27. In fact, we were all under the assumption that he was into men because of his lack of girlfriend. So when he got this girlfriend, my mum was obviously extremely excited. Anyway, moving forward, this girlfriend happened to have a lot of baggage. And when I say a lot of baggage, I mean this ranged from things like being on Jeremy Kyle, trying to find out who the father of her child is with DNA tests, to having I think the count is now at four children that she's actually just simply abandoned and left with their fathers. So yeah, 4. And she's only in her late 20s. So as I say, she absolute pillar of society. Definitely somebody you'd want to bring into the family and start showing off. But yes, so this is the setting for the start of one of my stories. So scrolling forward a few months, we had the opportunity to take on one of my parents' houses that was actually left in my mum's will when my grandma passed away. So we took it on, spent 40 grand in renovations, which I know sounds quite a lot, but this house did need fully stripping as my grandma was a heavy smoker, which probably donated towards her demise. But yes, so we spent, as I say, 40 grand renovating this particular house, and we were all living it quite happily. Me, my partner, my daughter, my 4 dogs. Everything was going great. Anyway, couldn't be peaceful for long, could it? No. So D-Day, as I call it, D-Day hit. So a couple of weeks before Christmas, which happens to also be my partner's birthday, my dad decided to come round with a present as well as a letter. So obviously once he left, he opened up this letter. There happened to be something called a Section 21, and on it said we had either 3 months to leave the property or 4 months to purchase it. Now, as we all know, in the UK it's not very easy to get a mortgage just like that with a click of your fingers, but we did indeed decide it was probably best not to lose our 40 grand investment and started the mortgage proceedings. Now, it was quite apparent as these proceedings began that my brother's intentions were in hope that we weren't able to purchase the house and that we weren't in a financial position to go ahead with the mortgage. Sadly for him, we were. But he did attempt a lot of sabotage, and a few of these I'll talk about in part 2, as they do become quite entertaining. But yes, so he basically wanted to park his little bum cheeks with his new slag missus into the house I just spent 40 grand on, because apparently the flat my parents paid for in full wasn't good enough for him. So anyway, as time went on, the mortgage went through, of course. I was in a financial situation to be able to afford it, luckily. But I think the thing we need to focus on here is the fact not only were my parents happy to leave me homeless on the street, because obviously trying to find a house nowadays, rental, with 4 dogs is simply impossible. And these dogs are elderly dogs, so they're not ones you can just say, oh look, here's a 6-month-old dog and sell it on. No, these are elderly dogs looking at 10, 11, 12 years old. So not only would I have been on the street with 4 dogs, but also my 6-year-old daughter, who was meant to be their beloved granddaughter that they religiously saw every Thursday and took up the horses. So yeah, I think we can say that this situation was simply evil and controlling, and it was just a way for them to exercise their power like they always do, and it was simply just to benefit themselves and massage their own egos. Now, if you want to see more of my episodes, then follow, because I do have a part 2 and a part 3. And to be honest, by the time I've finished, I will probably be on about part 5,000, because yeah, these stories are only the start of the drama and the abuse that I have suffered for years and years at the hands of my narcissistic